Hello and welcome to another video of Web3PY do-it-yourself tutorials. In the last video, we were able to deploy a contract, which was fifth payable contract that we have written in Solidity, the details of which are in the Solidity do-it-yourself tutorials on the same channel. Now, in this video, we are going to use Web3PY to write a contract, meaning executing a method in the contract. Specifically, we are going to be focusing on the deposit crypto, which is this function in the contract. The deposit crypto makes sure that the ether that is being transferred over is minimum 100 GUI. So let's do that here. So value, I'm going to say GUI and 101. And from here, as soon as I say deposit, it's going to deposit over here. You see that deposit happens. This is on Solidity platform. I'm going to do the exact same step in Web3PY. As in the previous videos, we have include constant file, which provides you Infura URL, private key, contract data, and contract ABI, which is written here. So I'm not going to be changing anything. This is from the last video. The reason I repeated these set of statements over here to have the continuity if you are just looking at this video and ignoring the previous video. So you know that how this is going to be coming up. All right, next. Let's write. So by the way, we also deployed this contract in our previous video. So we're going to use this contract on Goerli. So if I search on this, this is the contract. At this point in time, this contract has 0.01 Ether. The idea is that using this account ending in 33816, which has 1.3025 Ether, we should be able to transfer the amount to this contract. This is what we are trying to do. Next, on the Colab, I got all the information, and please copy this contract address. Next, we are going to say from Web3, make sure that you have installed Web3 package, which is by pip install Web3 like this. Next, we are going to import JSON and contract ABI, which is in the list, type list. If I run this, you would see that this is the list. I mean, it's a dictionary, but it's a list. We want to convert this into a JSON. In order to do that, we are using json.dumps. That is going to convert this into string. And then from here, I'm using json.loads that will convert into a JSON. I want contract ABI to be JSON. How I got this contract ABI and contract data, we discussed in the previous video. While you compile the contract in Solidity, you would go to compilation details, and in the ABI, you're going to copy this. And ABI is application binary interface. And then in the Web3, you're going to copy this data. This becomes your contract data, and this becomes your contract ABI. So let's move on. I'm going to initiate an instance Web3 using the HTTP provider Infura URL, which we have been doing it all along. And this is my from account to account. I have not changed this. I'm just using this since the beginning of this tutorial. Nuns, we have to get the latest transaction nuns for the from account. And I'm going to print it in this statement. Next, this is the contract address. How I'm getting contract address is here. So I copied this and pasted it here, ending in C88E. CA8E. Next, I'm going to create a handler known as contract handler. This is for the first time. So web3.eth.contract address equals contract address and ABI equals contract ABI. This will be a handler to this contract. And let's create a transaction object. So we are going to create the transaction, sign and send. So this is how you create it. Transaction object equals contract handler dot function. So this contract has functions deposit crypto. This is the custom function which is in this contract. Look here, deposit crypto dot build transaction. This is different from what we have been doing earlier. So please make a note. Pause the video. Look at what we did in the previous one. We did not have this statement. It was just a JSON. But in this, we are building the transaction using the deposit crypto function build transaction nuns from value, gas, and gas price. Please make sure that you have a little higher gas price. Earlier we were using 26,000, but because it is depositing, meaning it is running a function in the contract, you might need a little bit higher gas. So let's do one more round, right? The steps from the top to here are the same as in the previous videos. We use the same contract that we deployed in the previous video, and we created a contract handler, web3.eth.contract with address and ABI. Next, we created a transaction object wherein contract handler dot functions dot deposit crypto is the function dot build transaction, and this JSON remains the same. Next, we are going to sign the transaction. Same process, right? So web3.eth.account.sign transaction object, and private key from account. So the private key for the from account. Next, we are going to find out that we will send the transaction. So signed object dot raw transactions. We are going to say send raw transaction. And this is our transaction hash. So we have converted this into a web3.2 hex. Next, we are going to see if the status is true. So in order to understand if the transaction went through or not, we are using web3.eth.wait for transaction receipt of this hash. And then we are going to print transaction receipt dot status. This is going to be 1 for success, 0 for failure. Let's do a quick recap. The idea is on this contract, which has 0.01 Ether, we are going to add one more 0.01, which is going to be 0.02 Ether. Next, we are going to be using this account, the from account, as 3816. So see, it has 1.3025. We have used the contract that we created in the last video, and we are running the deposit crypto function of this contract. We are going to be transferring, for the fun sake, let's do 0.02 Ether transfer. And then we are going to sign the transaction, send it, and wait for the receipt. Look at the status. Let us run this. As soon as we run this, we got the transaction hash. I'm going to look it up on the, and you see that it's pending. It's almost 10 seconds. So it might take around 35 seconds to do it. So in the meanwhile, please note that you have the gas, you have this value. It took almost 30-ish seconds to run. This is the block number, the transfer amount, and you would see that this much of a gas fee was used. If I go back to this contract, you would see because we transferred 0.02 and it already had 0.01, we got 0.03. In this wallet, you would see that it just got reduced from 1.30 to 1.282. And therefore, and here the status is 1 as soon as the transaction completed. So with that said, you can find this notebook, run it by yourself, and see if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer. Put your questions in the description section below or the comment section below, and you will get it. So get the balance, send an Ether transaction, deploy a contract, and execute a contract. In the next video, we are going to look at how to listen to the events in a contract. Again, thank you for watching.